Welcome back, fellow travelers. I want to talk to you today about an unfortunate experience I had, and I actually dub it the worst hotel experience I've ever had. And that's including the time that I was in Toronto and the hotel room I was in caught fire. That didn't even top it. That's not even the worst experience I've had in a hotel. The worst experience I had in a hotel is going to act at the same time as a travel review for this particular hotel. And the reason I feel mentioning it is because it actually has really good ratings on all of the travel sites. And I am flabbergasted. So we'll jump right in. The hotel in question is called Silverstream Retreat. It's located right outside of Wellington, New Zealand. And I gotta say, first off, the staff there was nice and courteous. They did offer me a partial refund on the actual amount of the hotel because of the problems I had. But I gotta say, it was a gong show, to say the least. And we'll run down how I felt. So essentially, what we were doing is we booked this retreat, this not even a retreat, it was a hotel, this motel actually. We booked this motel last second because there was a last minute change in the itinerary for our travel plan. So I was traveling with a few friends in New Zealand. They were traveling on buddy passes that they had gotten because my friends was an employee at Air Canada. So they were traveling on a separate, I was traveling confirmed. So I was actually in New Zealand at a different point earlier on than they were. So we met up, and the whole plan was to actually have an extended stay in New Zealand. They had to cut it short because of a possible Air Canada strike at the time. It never materialized, but it was better to be safe than sorry. They didn't want to get stuck in New Zealand and then have to pay full price when they couldn't afford it to go back overseas. So it made sense for us to cut the trip short on their end, and the closest point of exit for them was Wellington. So we managed to get our way to Wellington, booked this hotel last minute. The rest of the hotels were packed. We couldn't get an extra bed anywhere, so we went with this place. At the time, it had like 3-star reviews. It was a 3-star motel or a 4-star motel at the time. I wasn't too enamored with the idea of staying so far out, but I was like, we got to do it. Let's jump on it. We get there, and sure enough, the place is hard to find, first of all. None of the locals knew how to get to this place. It was kind of roundabout, and I'll have an overlay right now on Google Maps just to show you exactly where it is. We get there, and again, the staff was friendly during the check-in process. We get to our car, and the entrance is nice. Like, it's a separate location, it's a separate building, and then it's almost like it's a complex with a lot of different smaller buildings. And there was an event going on. I'm not too sure what the event was about, but there was a lot of yelling and screaming. Not bad yelling and screaming, more like people were happy. They were celebrating, which is fine. We weren't nowhere close to that, thankfully, but we were at a compound way at the back next to the highway. So we get in, and it's not a bad place. It's 2 levels. It's got its own kitchen. It's open concept though. So there's one bedroom where there's the master bedroom, then there's some beds upstairs, and it's all again open concept, so the people upstairs can hear what's going on in the living room and the bedroom right underneath them, because the insulation or just the padding between the walls and the ceilings and the floors are very thin. So we're there, we get there fairly early in the day, and then we see that there's actual flight cancellations because of an incoming storm. So my group makes a last minute change to actually leave that night. So now they're not even going to be sleeping that night, or they're going to be taking off really early. I think the flight was leaving at 3 in the morning. So they went to bed early. I actually had to leave because any noise I was making was keeping them up. And I was literally on my phone. Like that much. It was so hard for them to sleep. And now that you had the noise from the highway behind us, it was really bad. So I left, and then when it was time for me to drive them at like 1:30 in the morning, we went, dropped them off. I came back. Now, one thing I didn't mention yet is that everybody felt uneasy in that room. I don't know what it was, but we all felt uneasy. I came back to an empty hotel room or motel room that was just unsettling for me. There's something about it just didn't feel right. We were out of the way. We were next to like what I thought was a landfill. Like even like looking on Google Maps, it doesn't say what's there, but it looked like it was a landfill. And I'm hearing noises from outside because it's just everything is so thin you can hear all the noises around you. So I get into the main bedroom where our friend was sleeping. We had given her that main one because she was the only female there. And then the one thing I noticed is that there are, like, it's wall to ceiling window looking over the highway. So it's a huge window, and it'd be a beautiful window if it was like facing nature, but it was facing the highway. So I covered that up. And as I'm taking off some of the sheets, there's bugs that come out from under the sheets. And I was like, ah, that's so gross. And I'm normally one person to check a room like top to bottom for bed bugs. But these weren't bed bugs. These were just run-of-the-mill bugs. And it was pretty disgusting, to say the least. So I went to call the front desk. Nobody answered. I called again. I was calling intermittently throughout the night. And then finally at 6 a.m., I couldn't sleep. I was so on edge about everything. I moved the couch in front of the door because I kept hearing people right outside my door. And I even heard one person jiggling the lock. And I didn't know what was going on. It was like, it was almost like it was a scene from a horror movie. That's what it was. Somebody was jiggling, so I tried to wedge the sofa next to the door so nobody could open the door, but then there was a window at the back, so I closed off the master bedroom and I went upstairs to lie down in the bed while I kept calling front desk. There's just nobody manning the front desk at that time. So at 6 o'clock, Sony picks up and I explained the whole situation, and the person was empathetic to a point. They said, okay, well, here, come to check in and we'll arrange something. And their arranged something was, giving me the discount that I had mentioned. I don't remember the exact amount. It was okay. I was like, okay, like I accept that. I did stay in the room and I'm not going to get off scot-free. But I was out of there. As soon as that was resolved, I was out of there. I spent the morning looking for another hotel. Last minute, I ended up finding one, which was okay. But like the experience that I had at this resort was terrible. And not only that, one thing I am going to mention is that the pictures online look great, but those are of the complexes that are right as you get in. As you go further into the compound, it's not even really a compound, it's just a big plot of land. The quality of the housing degrades significantly. Like, significantly. There's a washer and dryer small building where the doors are all open. There's broken windows. On our building, all the paint was peeling off as if it had never been repainted since it was originally painted. And even there's some comments on some of the travel websites that state exactly this, how the state of the location isn't as great as it is advertised. Now, I will say, when you go into the check-in area, that place is beautiful. When you go into their main hall, that place is beautiful. But their surrounding areas aren't that great, to be honest. There's just so many things about it. So being next to the highway, being thinly insulated that you can hear your neighbors, having the highway right behind us that you can hear cars blazing, the bugs, nobody at the front desk. Those are all things to me that I've never had that bad of an experience, and I wanted to get out of that room as soon as possible. So if you've been to this hotel, let me know what you thought in the comments below. I would really like to hear, because this hotel is getting good reviews. It does have bad reviews sprinkled in, but I find it incredible how bad my experience was comparatively to other people's experience. So please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. If you're traveling to New Zealand, also maybe you had no intention of going to this hotel, let me know what hotels you're looking at in Wellington, and would love to hear it. I'm definitely planning on going back to Wellington. The city has a lot to offer. I had an enjoyable experience in Wellington, so I'd love to hear where you are going if you were traveling to Wellington. In the meantime, you can check out some of my other videos right over here. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can do that right here. It lets you know when we upload new content so you don't miss one of my videos. It also helps the channel and it's greatly appreciated. I'd like to thank you for making me a part of your day. And until next time, safe travels.